Hello, welcome to this presentation on the ease of doing business in the UK from a legal perspective. I'm Paul Marmor of Sherrards Solicitors, a partner who runs our international department and litigation and dispute resolution services. I'm accompanied by Wincy Cheung, a senior lawyer from our corporate department and also head of our Hong Kong desk, and we're going to be providing you with some essential information, particularly for Hong Kong and Chinese companies coming into the UK. The scope of our presentation is set out on the screen in front of you, and we're going to be discussing Sherrard, how our system is very friendly to incoming business, and then tell you a little more about some of the specifics ranging from M&A in the UK to property employment disputes and the ease of dispute resolution. A little about Sherrards. We are a mid-range firm competing against the top-tier firms. We have clients ranging from global brands and listed companies to small and medium-sized enterprises. We offer a full range of commercial legal services, and we have very much an international approach as part of our thinking through our membership of the Alliott Group International Alliance, which consists of 150 members of law firms and accountancy firms across the globe. I'm the chair of the legal side of the group. As for Sherrards, we have offices in London and St Albans and are very well placed for access to London's major airports. So, why is the UK a user-friendly system for incoming businesses, particularly from China, Hong Kong, or indeed other parts of the world? Well, we have an ability to enforce contracts. We have good flexibility in our employment law. We have less regulations to start a business, especially compared with much of Europe. And indeed, we have less regulations relating to closing a business, again compared with much of Europe. We have a good system for registering property, very good protection for those with intellectual property needs, and there's good overall protection built into our legal system for business and trade. So now it's my pleasure to hand over to my colleague, Wincy Cheung, from our Hong Kong desk.
Thank you, Paul. 大家你哋好. My name is Wincy Cheung, and I lead the Hong Kong and China desk from our Sherrards office in London. I am originally from Hong Kong and proud to say that my family can be traced back to Hong Kong for 27 generations. I speak Cantonese and Mandarin, having previously studied at Renmin University in Beijing. Sherrards have dealt with a number of transactions relating to Hong Kong and China, from IP registration and enforcement matters through to litigation and dispute resolution, which Paul will talk about later. With the increase in Anglo-Chinese relations and China entering the World Trade Organization, we have seen a significant number of businesses in both China and Hong Kong working together with UK businesses. Mergers and acquisitions. Why do they work well in the UK? The UK is a world-class financial centre with a significant amount of expertise in mergers and acquisitions, and as Alliott have mentioned, is a leading centre for corporate finance. The strength and attraction of the UK mergers and acquisitions market has also recently been shown by the joint venture entered into between Lei Ga-sing's company, CKI, and the British arm of EDF Electricity. The components and process required for undertaking mergers and acquisitions in the UK will be familiar to many Hong Kong and Chinese investors. There are two main stages. Stage 1 includes the preparatory work required even before final documents are negotiated. This will comprise the heads of terms, confidentiality agreements, exclusivity arrangements, and a possible lockout period. The second stage will be the main research and negotiation stage. This includes due diligence, the negotiation of the joint venture agreement or the purchase agreement, and will include warranties and other obligations. And then finally, there will be a disclosure letter. So moving on to the UK's position as a leading centre for the protection of intellectual property rights. UK has been one of the leaders in encouraging and supporting entrepreneurial activities, creativity and innovation. Any ideas, brands, etc. must therefore be protected. There are four main areas of IP protection. These comprise Patents, which protect inventions and provide a basis for European intellectual property protection. Trademarks, these will be signs, words, logos, pictures and even sounds which can be used to distinguish your goods and services from others. Copyright, which generally protects computer programs, websites, drawings and photographs. And finally, industrial design rights, which are specifically related to certain sectors of the industry and will usually protect rights such as biotechnology, genetic engineering, etc. Franchising is generally when businesses have a set business model and system, and is a form of business system which many businesses in the UK will operate under. Franchisers will often grant a license to an individual to operate the franchise, normally called a franchisee. UK is a relatively simple market to establish and operate a franchise, and there is very little regulation required to comply with. This is unlike various other countries in Europe. The most important aspect of a franchise will be its trademark and business model. The last thing a franchisor will want is for an ex-franchisee to set up a copycat business next door using its own business model. It is therefore very important to protect this, and this will usually be dealt with in the franchise agreement. So not only is setting up a franchise in the UK extremely simple, there are also a large number of franchises which operate in the UK, such as Subway, McDonald's and cleaning businesses. Now I will pass you back to Paul, who will talk about property and other matters.
Thank you, Wincy. So now I'm going to discuss property, and the UK is an excellent platform for companies coming to the in Europe who wish to set up a head office and use the benefits of the UK to reach out to the rest of Europe. We have an excellent tax regime and an excellent legal regime in terms of dealing with the ownership of property. For instance, there's no restriction on foreign ownership of commercial real estate. We have an abundance of good commercial property for rent or indeed for acquisition, and for those looking to acquire domestic property, there are plenty of opportunities. We have one of the most accessible and lively commercial property markets in Europe, with plenty of alternatives for incoming businesses to either take space in leased or serviced offices, or to enter a science park, or take space in an industrial area, and land for development is available with a very flexible planning system in comparison, particularly with much of Europe, and the government have recently announced new enterprise zones, making it even more attractive for development opportunities. As far as immigration opportunities are concerned, for those who are looking to obtain the right of permanent residency and ultimately a British passport, we do have investor visas. And indeed it is possible for companies to bring in particularly expert and skilled based labour where salaries are in excess of £150,000. Otherwise we have a points based system. In terms of our employment regime, as I've said previously, it really is very flexible, particularly compared with much of Europe, with specialist employment tribunals who are a balanced tribunal made up of representatives from the employers and the employees. And the important point to note is that compensation in the UK is generally non-penal in nature. And I'm pleased to say that our tribunal system is undergoing a system of reform to make it harder for employees to bring claims. So my personal favourite to discuss is the ease of resolving disputes in the UK, because I run the Dispute and Resolution and Litigation Department at Sherrards. First and foremost, why a Chinese and particularly a Hong Kong business would find it easy to use our system is because we're in a common law system which is very familiar to those in Hong Kong. We have first-class courts, an independent judiciary, and indeed the UK really is a non-litigious society, certainly compared with North America and other parts of the world, and has an excellent centre for arbitration and mediation is now enshrined in our legal system as an alternative dispute resolution process. So that's our presentation, and we've prepared some detailed notes on today's presentation, and if you'd like some information or indeed the notes, please do not hesitate to get in touch with us. especially if you're bringing your company and business into the UK, and we'd be happy to discuss it with you. On the screen in front of you are my contact details and those of Wincy, and it's just remains for me and for Wincy, on behalf of Wincy, say goodbye and thank you for listening. 多谢，再见，谢谢，再见. Thank you.